Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to say welcome. It's so great to have everybody back in person. I think it's been 3 years since we've been able to have the welcome back coffee and everybody back in person. So I'm absolutely thrilled to have everybody here. As I said before, I'm Bill Egan. I'm the high school principal. I've been here 8 years. I'm really proud to be the New Canaan High School principal. I think this is a really special school and a special community. And at first, I'd like to introduce our superintendent. Dr. Brian Lutze wants to welcome everybody. So, Brian, come on up.
Good morning. Big question on my mind this morning is how are we doing with the school start times? Yeah, it's working. It's benefiting your children. That extra half an hour is making a positive difference. Good, good. The kids are saying it. Very good, very good. As Bill said, Brian wants to say words of welcome. He didn't invite me this morning, so I have to be very quick. But I did want to very quick. You heard that. You did hear that, right?
If the superintendent is in the building, you let me know. You can't do that. So I find out he's in talking to kids.
Yeah. So fair point. There's a story about a nearby town when the superintendent went to different buildings. They would do a call on the PA, and it would be, the raccoon is in the dumpster. So I let Bill know that in case I ever hear that announcement, then we have to talk, right? But every time I go over to East, Michelle Valley, if you know East, she makes sure to do that, make that announcement. But truly, I just wanted to say good morning, say welcome. From our perspective, as we're sort of reopening this week, last week, we've had a great opening. Things seem to be going very, very well. To think that we have a whole systems change where we have 4,163 students and all of the staff and everything going at a new time that they've never gone before with different groupings around the district, and it's working as smoothly as it is inspiring and humbling for me, because it's taken such hard work by so many people to pull it off, and really validating to hear from you that your children are benefiting from it, because that's what this work is all about, and that's what gets us excited to do it together with your children, with our staff, with all of you. So I just wanted to say welcome, say hi, and I just one more quick story. Sorry, Bill. So when I came to New Canaan back in 2011, I was the high school principal, and I remember I was in my office. It was the start of the school year. It was a disrupted start because of weather, and I was Jill Roby was the PFA president at the time, ran into my office at about 9:15 and said, "Hey, we have a meeting going on this morning. They all want to meet you. Will you come talk?" I said, "Sure." So I came walking over expecting what I had seen at all the other schools I've been at, especially the high school I was at before, which was a great school, which would be about 15 people or so sitting around a table talking, and walked into the room similar to this, full of people, and all expecting me to say some words of poignant wisdom that I didn't come up with on the walk over from my office, not knowing that I was speaking that morning. But I like that story because it shows the involvement, the connection, and the strength of the community that we have. And so it's great that you're here today. Great that you'll be a part of things as we go through this whole school year. And it's a privilege to be your superintendent and say welcome. So thanks. I hope you have a great year, off to a great start. And if you haven't downloaded the Where's the Bus app, if your kids still take the bus, I hear great things from the elementary parents on it.
I'm not sure how many
yeah, I don't think so either. But just in case, they should. It's a lot easier. But the Where's the Bus app, if they do. We also have new late buses this year that we've put in place because of the way we've done this. We have our typical late bus, but then we have an activity bus that actually runs at about 5:15 or so. Yeah, so 5:15. So that we have running right now in case your children are here for activities after school, sports, other things, especially as underclassmen. We thought maybe that 5:15 time period could be helpful for families as a late bus to bring kids home. So just so you know, that's something we've put in place to give it a try. And if people start using it, we'll keep it in place. So have a great start. Bill, thank you. And great to see everybody.
I joke around, but we are very fortunate to have Dr. Lutze as our superintendent. He's truly the best superintendent and a good friend. But at this point, too, I want to welcome everyone today again. I'm so fortunate to have an awesome PFA. that really has helped make all the improvements really here at school. But first, I'd like to introduce our two PFA presidents, but I think Jerry is going to speak. Jerry Moore is one of our co-presidents, and Sarah Vrede is one of our co-parents as well, co-presidents as well. But Jerry's going to say a few words.
Yes. There we go. Okay. Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm Jerry Moore, co-president of the PFA, and on behalf of my co-president Sarah, we'd both like to welcome you to our first general meeting of the year. I hope that all your kids got off to a great start, and the freshmen particularly are settling in nicely. Personally, I still haven't figured out the block schedule. I don't know if it's an A day or a B day, but they seem to really pick it up quickly. So I'm looking forward to a really fantastic year. I'd like to start the meeting out by introducing the PFA Executive Board for this year. As mentioned, Sarah and I are serving as co-presidents. Vice President of Communications is Amy Fields. Vice President of Education, Patty Zoccolillo. Vice President of Gifts and Grants is Patricia Mee. There she is in the back. Vice President of Hospitality is Emily Hanlon. Emily also. Treasurer, Stacy O'Malley. Assistant Treasurer, Stacy Harmon. Right there. And Secretary, Stacy Murphy. Clearly, we have a lot of Stacys on the board. Yeah, Stacy, yeah. The PFA also has a number of committee chairs and committee members who, with the executive board, donate countless hours of their time to make sure that all of our activities and events run smoothly. So I want to thank all of you, too, for your time and effort on behalf of our students. Today is also, let's see, do I press that? Oh, there we go. Okay. Today is also the official launch of our annual PFA appeal. The goal is to raise $75,000 to ensure that our operating budget is fully funded. We receive zero funds from the Board of Ed or from the district, and instead rely on the generosity of our parent community. The majority of our funds fall under 4 categories and support the following programs and events: academic and educational programs such as Safe Driving Week, Career Night, as well as grade level events such as midterm prep for freshmen, Understanding GPS and Naviance for sophomores, college planning for juniors, and financial aid night for seniors. The social activities and clubs we help support are Model UN, robotics, bouquet buddies, as well as faculty and staff appreciation events. Faculty grants, last year we funded a college essay workshop. We purchased whiteboards for math classes, as well as electronic keyboards and smartphone tripods for students used in classrooms are just a few examples of the faculty grants that we do help support. And then lastly, the campus beautification. The PFA purchased several new outdoor tables and umbrellas. We installed refillable water bottle stations, new signage for the farm road side of the building, as well as commissioned an outdoor mural for the Ram Cafe that was assisted in the painting by the art students here at the high school. So if you haven't had a chance to see it on the back wall, it's fantastic, and it really helps make that space very warm and welcoming, and the kids really seem to like it. So this is the only time we will ask you for money, and the majority of the funds that we raise will be used this year, so thank you in advance for your generosity. And before we move on, I have one more piece of official business to get to, the approval of the minute meetings from our May 2022 meeting. They've been posted on our website for your review and were sent to you through a link through the last weekly. I'm sure you guys have pored over them all in detail. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the May 2022 general meeting minutes. Stacy O'Malley, can I have a second? Patty Zoccolillo, all in favor? Okay, the motion has approved. Okay, thank you. Now next, I'd like to introduce Mark Harrison, who's president of the Service League of Boys, who will provide you with a brief introduction to the high school's largest after-school club.
Thanks, Jerry. How many parents of slobs are in the room? A lot. That's good. It's the largest club at New Canaan High School.
I think you all might have.
Yeah. So last year we had about 250 members, all boys, of course. I am the sole male board member on the adult board, so you men out there, get after it. It's a great program. It teaches leadership in a different kind of way than other kinds of programs like sports and other kinds of things. It's very philanthropic. There are more than 35 different philanthropies across our immediate area. They're in New Canaan primarily, but a little bit in Norwalk and Stanford as well. So last year we did a little free pantry, for instance, for underprivileged people to be able to get free deodorant and toothpaste and stuff like that. So it's a very philanthropic club. We did more than 3,000 hours in the community last year. There are, for those of you who are new to the school, ninth graders, there is a welcome kind of in this room. 2 weeks from tonight is our new members meeting, and then the first general meeting is going to be 2 weeks from Saturday in the gym, or the Ram Cafe, I guess, or whatever they call that, the cafeteria. And that's it. Our signature project as well is on October 22nd at the New Canaan Nature Center. We're going to be rebuilding completely the community gardens that are up there. So if you've been up there before, it's beautiful. We're going to have to cut everything down, but we're going to put new, new dirt, new everything. So it's going to be a beautiful new renewed space. So each year we kind of circle one project on the calendar and say, please show up 100, 200 hours just in that one event. And that'll be this year at the Nature Center. Last year it was at Bristow Bird Sanctuary. So if you walk through and you notice how nice the paths are and stuff, that was us last year. So we'd like to do a lot of outdoor programs. So if you're involved with any kind of anything that gets the boys outside doing stuff for the community, let us know. We have a VP of philanthropy who I don't see in the room, Shannon Getz. I have a co-president as well, Trish Ladley, who is not here today. Graham Ladley and my son Charlie Harrison are the co-presidents for this year. They're both 12th graders. So thank you for the opportunity and hope to see you out there.
Thank you, Mark. In addition to SLOBs, the high school also has a very large number of after-school clubs and activities, and there will be a club fair. Is that right? This year? I think September 30th. You'll be hearing more about that, but it's an opportunity, particularly for freshman parents, to encourage their kids to attend the club fair, and that they will. The kids who run the particular clubs will tell you all about it. We have math club, we have robotics club, we have SLOBs, we have a number of clubs, and it's a really nice way for your kids to get involved. So I suggest, if they haven't heard it, the fair, to please attend. Before I give the floor back to Bill, I just would like to thank him, Dr. Lutzy, our assistant principals, and all the faculty and staff here for really giving the parents a seat at the table and treating us as equal partners. I know that's not the case at all high schools, and so I'm speaking on behalf of the board, but we're very grateful for this long, enduring partnership. So thank you. And here's Bill.
Thanks, Jerry. I think that's a great segue because I've always believed that since the moment I walked into this school, as parents are partners with us, and we can't accomplish anything for our kids unless we all work together. So before I get started, I do want to introduce a couple of people that are really important here. Larry Sullivan is our grade 11 or 10? 11 assistant principal, and grade 9 and 12 assistant principal is Christy Carrero. Mr. Rothman couldn't be here. He's actually out ill, but he is our grade 10 assistant principal. And Kevin Ryan also was at a meeting, and he's our special ed administrator as well. So those are some important names that you would know around the building. One of the things I always want to start with as we start a year is really to talk about what kind of school we want. I really want, and I won't read this whole thing, but I want a school where everybody has so much pride in the school, that parents love sending their kids. Kids want to come to school and value everything they do. They're pushed academically to be the best they could be, but really love being here. And teachers feel valued and as a part of the community and truly work to do everything in the best interest of kids. Our wish for the school year is, and we talked about this with the teachers, is that everyone rediscovers a joy. We talked about reigniting a spark, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Rediscovers a joy the school year brings, and your time spent this year is personally and professionally rewarding. We are living in challenging times. I don't think anyone could doubt that with all that's going on in the world. But we have tremendous opportunities to forge relationships with students who have the power to change the world for the better. And we said to the staff, we want them to have fun, and the same goes for you. We want this to be fun and everyone enjoy the year, no matter what comes our way, because we really don't know what will come our way. I did want to welcome some new staff. So for many of you, you might not be aware of all the staff, but certainly the new staff we want to welcome. Dr. Kevin Holliday is our new Director of World Languages and ELL program. An English teacher, we have Jamie Chesbrough. Music, we have Barry Zhao. Some of you may have known him from the elementary school. He was at East. Mathematics, we welcome Jamie Corbin from Milford. We have school counselor Sarah Drexel, who was in Fairfield. She's excellent. We have a science lab aide, Andrea Stack, who comes with really a variety of experiences. I share this because, well, I don't know if I should share this, but she was she was a brewer. So she worked at Two Roads, and she's got a real science background. I found it very interesting, and it was I didn't sample anything, but I might have liked to. Yeah. Karen Galeas is a Spanish teacher. Nancy Stevens is not new to the staff, but new to certified staff. She's our ACES coordinator. We have a new library administrative assistant, Angela Wilson. We have a new school psychologist who's splitting time between Saks and here. 3 days at Saks, 2 days here, Zoe Roberts. We have a new tech support guy who's great. He was in the Geek Squad. Is it Geek Squad? CJ Loomis. And then we have a new world language aide, Daniel Almonte. Up from the middle school, Jeff Deek is our new SRO. Officer Lambert retired, although you wouldn't know it. I think he communicates more with us now being retired than he did before. Jay DeVito is our new building sub. He's everywhere. And Hampton, is Hampton's last name Deas? Deas comes to us really at the end of last year. You know, so I talked a little bit about reigniting our spark, and you know, the last couple of years have been really kind of challenging times. So we really talked to the staff as we started the year and said, you know, for me personally, it's not that I lost my spark, but maybe it was dimmed a little bit dealing with all the some of it nonsense of the last couple of years, and some of it, you know, was really important, challenging work that we had to do to get through what we dealt with. But we really want to reignite our spark. So I do have this little video. If you can humor me, it's about 5 minutes. But maybe, Christy, could you get the lights? You know, it talks a little bit about what we've gone through and kind of our hope. So, see if we can. There we go. I thought I hit play.
Remember last August when we thought this school year was just going to be great? The past 2 years were so hard, but COVID is over. All that political strife seems to be muted for now. Let's just dive into the school year as we return to normal and have the best year ever. Do you remember that? For a lot of educators, it hasn't felt like the best year ever, or anything close to normal. Getting students who had grown so used to being at home in virtual classrooms and living by their own schedules and their own rules and their own motivations, getting them to not only work in school but actually be passionate about it and engaged, has not been normal. Shutting out all the external noises, the clueless politicians, that guy from high school on Facebook, the people who have no idea what it means to be an educator but are trying to tell you how to teach and lead students. That hasn't been normal. In leading a school or a classroom with constant disruption, half of your class out on quarantine, teacher shortages, sub shortages, TikTok challenges that destroy bathrooms, all of these disruptions and more, they haven't felt normal. And meanwhile, trying to care about the health and safety and well-being of your students while simultaneously trying to preserve your own has not been normal. This year hasn't felt like the fresh start we were hoping for. And so do we get our hopes up for next year? Are we setting ourselves up for disappointment if we dare to believe? Do we have the audacity to think that there is a normal school year on the horizon? Well, I don't know. But I do know that despite all of the loud voices and all of the disruption and the pandemic, that my little girl learned to read this year. And I mostly have her kindergarten teacher to thank for that. And I know that over 3 million hopeful seniors walked across the graduation stage this spring. And I know my friend Lauren, who's a school nurse, took the time to answer every single question a family asked during this pandemic. And she did it with an immeasurable amount of patience. And I know a group of teachers that I met in Detroit who lost one of their students to a car crash last October were a bedrock in their community during that tragedy. And that teacher whose class that student was in, she let his older brother come and sit in her room every single day because it brought him comfort. That still happened this past year. And I know lots of teachers who have said that student behavior has been worse than ever, but for some reason, whether it's coming together during a hard time or it's just a hopeful sign of this generation, building relationships with students has never been better. I know my son wants to be an author when he grows up because his teacher this year told him that he already is one. And I know that all this talk about learning loss is real, but I also know that without a doubt, how much worse it would have been if there weren't millions of teachers committed to adapting to these times and circumstances and still finding ways to educate. I know that kids in science class were still made curious. Kids in ELA learned to communicate beautifully. I know that math classes still showed students different ways to think and solve problems. I know that the future is brighter because social studies teachers help students learn about where we've been in order to inform where we're going. I know that kids fell in love with books for the first time this year in their school libraries. I know that school leaders made impossible decisions to lead staff and students through a very dark season. I know that artists got to practice their craft in art classes. Music filled these hallways and their students' hearts from band rooms. I know that kids were listened to by counselors, motivated by gym teachers, transported safely by bus drivers, assistants and specialists, did everything they could to serve teachers and their students. And I know that teachers still made a lasting difference in their students' lives. I mean, none of this is meant to slap a silver lining on anything. It's been hard, but it hasn't been without fruit. And so as we move towards another year that I'm sure will have its own challenges, hopefully easier ones, just know that the work of an educator is never in vain. In the tough times and the peaceful ones, growth, success, progress, breakthroughs, magic, it still happens. Remember last August when we...
I did that right. Good. You know, that talked about educators, but really, it could have talked about all of you. This really was a challenging couple of years. Nobody planned on being a parent through a pandemic and having their kids home or having them virtual or having to deal with the emotional journey of what that was like. You know, so truly it was a challenge not only for our teachers in the classroom, but for all of you. And certainly we recognize that. You know, but hopefully this year, at least for me anyway, feels like there's a renewed sense of hope that we're coming back without some of the same, it's not, I guess fears are still out there, but it's not the same. It feels different, and people feel more connected on the way back to school. So I hope it's different for all of you too. But one of the things we wanted to do with the staff, and I just wanted to share it with you, is we really wanted to talk about why they got into education. You know, because so much of what we've done is preventative things we had to do to get people in the classroom. But we really asked them, well, what were the reasons that you got into education? And some were like, well, you know, for me, I had a challenging childhood, and I wanted to be able to inspire others and wanted to do things differently for others. You know, I always wanted to be a teacher. I came from a history teacher, so there was a whole bunch of reasons why people got into education. They certainly didn't get into it for a pandemic, but as Dr. Lutzy would say, well, that is what you do it for, right? Anything that comes your way, you deal with the crisis and you move forward. You know, but we wanted to really kind of reignite that spark. And then I was trying to think about, well, I'm talking to you guys, a different audience, so what would I want to talk about? So for me, I wanted to make this kind of a reflective thing, and you could think about it for yourself. So my daughter is a senior right now. So she has gone through literally the pandemic with everybody here, you know, through the high school. 9th grade was a wreck. She left, you know, the end of her 9th grade year. 10th grade was hybrid the entire year. Last year she was back, but it was certainly different, and this year seems a little bit normal. You know, so I was like, what do I want for her? You know, I want to encourage her to be the best that she can be. I want to encourage her to complete her work. You know, I want her to try at everything she does, whether that's work at the grocery store that she works at, whether it's on the volleyball team, and whether it's her academics. I want her to be the best that she could possibly be. You know, I wanted to problem solve. This is probably my daughter's biggest mistake, and she'd kill me. I know we videotaped these, but she would kill me for this. So this is, I'm going to give you an example of what happened the other day for her. So she's she happens to be her captain of her volleyball team, not because of her incredible skill in any way, shape, or form. She's going to really have to push to make sure that she keeps her spot as a starter. But the other day, she had her first day of volleyball practice, okay? She's like all of your kids. She's uber involved in everything, okay? So she also happens to be the president of the Kindness Club. So she's a good kid. She's a nice kid. So she gets a text from her or an email from her teacher who runs the Kindness Club and said, hey, need that video instead of tomorrow when it was due. I need it by 6 o'clock. This is 3:50. She has practice starting at 4, and it goes till 7. So my daughter wants to only please people. So she's like, okay, I've got to create this video. I have a few minutes. How hard could it be to create a video? Well, I have 2 dogs. I have a cockapoo and a labradoodle. They're barking like crazy the whole time. So she's not leaving the house. My wife looks in the Ring camera like, what's she doing home still? She's at work. She's like, what's she doing home still? So she calls. Now my daughter's crying hysterically because she can't get this video out for the Kindness Club person, and now she's late on the first day of volleyball, and she's a captain. So what does that look like? So she has no idea what to do. She's crying hysterically. So again, for me, it seems like an easy problem solve. They tell the lady who really was due tomorrow, say, hey, I'll get it to you when I'm done. It'll be like 8 o'clock or something, you'll get it. But not right now. But she didn't want to disappoint anybody. So for her, it was a real struggle. Now I hope she learns from that, and the next time she gets into that situation, she doesn't have a meltdown. She might, but I hope she learns from that. I want to be present for her, you know. So for me, I want to be at as much stuff as I can. I have the good fortune to have a wonderful boss who says, yeah, it's your senior year, make sure you're at your daughter's stuff. So I'm hosting a pasta party at my house tonight, so I'm not going to be at the Board of Ed meeting with him. I'll take a picture to make sure it's true. I won't lie. And, you know, the truth is, she really wants us there, and it's the same for all your kids. They may tell you they don't, but they want you around. You know, I want to be honest with her. If I have a concern about things, I want to be able to have an honest conversation about what's bothering me, about what it is she's doing. You know, for one of those things, it's like social media. It's interesting. Technology serves a lot of wonderful purposes, but there's also some negatives. And I'm consistently having conversations. You know, the one thing, and again, just being honest with you guys, I have a 12th grade daughter. Sometimes her self-esteem struggles, and sometimes it's all Instagram. Somebody's doing something she wasn't invited to. You know, somebody looks a certain way or different things. She struggles with that too. No different than anybody else. You know, so I constantly have conversations about what her worth is, what her value is, and all that stuff is not real. I want to have an open line of communication with her teachers and her counselor. I want to set appropriate limits, and specifically around social media. You know, that's the one thing that is a challenge, and it's hard, right? Because you're trying to build that like release of saying, I trust you. You guys, I'm going to give you this rope, but you know what? This seems like it's too much. And for every parent, it's a little different, right? So that's totally up to each of us, and that's where we all have some conversations sometimes about what feels right, what doesn't. I want to participate in school events and activities, and I really want to love my daughter's school. I live in Bethel, by the way, so I do love Bethel as well. And I want to get excited for her future and enjoy the year. You know, I think a lot of times for me, you know, again, I still work very hard. I'm not saying I don't, but I worked so hard through when she was younger and through middle school that it was like I was exhausted trying to get to things and do things. And now, like, that's one thing, I guess, a silver lining to this pandemic in some ways. I truly have switched where I just enjoy things. I want to be a part of it and take it in, because I got to be honest with you, I have one kid, and she leaves me next year, and it breaks my heart. So you guys can help me with that later on. But I will tell you this: the day before school started, I literally cried, and I was like, "How is it that this is my last time through?" You know, I wasn't fortunate enough to have additional kids, so this is my one child. So to let her go, I think, is really going to be hard for me. I'm almost going to cry now. So, but you guys can help me later. Maybe give me a hug or something. But you know, for me, I hope for you that you guys could think about what you want the school year to be like for yourselves, for your families, for your kids, and just kind of take that in. And I hope reignite that spark for you guys too, because I don't think this has been easy for any of us. You know, we talked with the staff about some of our guiding principles. You know, connecting students and teachers to their school, to their peers and to their teachers. We want to keep students and staff healthy in all domains of their lives, and we want to partner with families and community members to support the success of all students. You know, one thing I asked all teachers to do before the year started, and you could let me know later if you didn't get it, but I wanted every teacher to send an email home before the year started welcoming families, students and families to the school year. I asked them to, you know, basically share a little bit about themselves, how excited they were, and if there's some things you needed to know, to let them know as well. So again, you can kind of share with me later whether or not that happened, but that's one of the things. It's important that we kind of get the year started on the right note, and I want teachers to be able to do that. We do have study halls for freshmen if you have a child of a freshman. It said only full blocks, but there's a lot of students who don't have even a full block, so it might be their half blocks as well, but you won't see it on the back side of the science minis. At least you shouldn't, I don't think. We do have Ram Time Tuesdays. We had, you know, our SRO who was here last year. He affectionately called it toward the end of the year Scram Time, because many people at the end of the day were kind of sneaking out of here. So we moved it to the beginning. And ideally, in the email I sent home, and I know all of you read it so voraciously over the summer, but one of the things that I sent out was, you know, this is a support for kids. So we want them to access the supports that we have for them. So we want them to get extra help when they need it, or get started on their work. So yesterday was our first Ram Time. We fully expected that there probably wasn't a ton of homework for kids coming back from a long weekend, but we wanted to get started on that. So talk to your teacher, talk to your kids, have them access the supports that are available for them. We also have merged schedules, so the same time frames, because last year it was different. So we have on Connections and TV broadcasts are on Fridays, but it's the same schedule as Ram Times, and I'll show you the schedule in a second, which will still be confusing. As Jerry said, she still doesn't get it, but the kids do. We do have open house tomorrow night. I hope all of you can come. You know, it's a little different without it the last few years. It's one of the most shocking things I've ever seen, because open house is really like a social event here too. So it's awesome you get to know the child's teachers and classes, but everybody, it almost seems like a reunion in this town. So I hope that everybody comes back, and it's going to be awesome. We do have safety drills monthly. We had our first one last week. We had an evacuation drill, a fire drill. What we will do is we will announce them to the kids and to the staff ahead of time, and I'll follow up with an email to all of you afterwards as well. But it's important that we do those. And the schedule. Here's the schedule. I know it means nothing to all of you except except that they'll see all their classes over 2 days. So if you see A and B day, it'll be like 1 through 4 and 5 through 8. And then we rotate it, so you'll have some sequence of that schedule going on for the remainder of the time. And then you'll see on the left, I think it's the Tuesday schedule, and then on the right is the Ram Time Tuesday Connections and the broadcast schedule. So that's how it gets a little different. And the kids know when their lunches are and all that. We give them a lunch schedule. I know it seems confusing. You'll never understand it from this, but the kids really do. Yes?
It's also on Power School.
Yeah.
If you click in and do My Schedule, it'll tell the week schedule for your child, which I find helpful. At the beginning of the week, I just kind of, so then I know exactly what she has at what time.
Very good. Oh, the one thing, too, I want to share with you, bring your child's schedule tomorrow night to open house. We are not going to have 1,300 schedules printed out anymore. So at this day and age, I'm going to probably do a video tomorrow saying, please bring your schedule. Because if you come without a schedule, you're going to be lost, and then you're going to hang out with me the whole night and never go to your classes, which is not the worst thing in the world. I can be fun. Anyway, I thought that was funny, too. So a couple things. Remember, we want to take care of yourselves and each other. Your health always should come before your homework. If a child is struggling with something, let us know. We want to take care of kids. Family outweighs frustration. Learning is more important than grades. I know that's true to a point, right? We want to do the best we can. Grades matter. It's all important. But we do believe relationships are the center of all learning. So, things that we will do, we'll continue to meet with you guys regularly. We'll adapt and adjust as every situation evolves, and be kind to ourselves and each other. So I do have a little video to kind of wrap this up, and this is important. I don't think I brought any in, but what we did with the staff was we said, hey, we want to make sure, you reignite your spark. And we want to make sure that we really, get that flame going. So we do have this little video. It was really more silly than anything educational. But for those of you of a certain age like me, you'll remember this song. So if you don't mind, humor me. This is 1 minute.
baby, baby.
Nope.
Anyway,
Ooh, baby, baby.
for those of you who don't remember, that was Salt and Pepper, Push It. And what we did for the staff was we gave them Flaming Hot Cheetos and Flaming Hot Doritos to reignite their spark as they left our meeting. So, we don't need to see Jeopardy, SNL Jeopardy. Let me go back. Although they're very funny.
This is Black Jeopardy.
Anyway, as we go forward, we look forward to partnering with all families to ensure a positive, successful, and rewarding school year for everyone and for our students. So, as always, reach out to us if you have any questions or concerns. And at this point, I'm willing to take any questions about the beginning of the year, any questions anybody may have about anything. I am fascinated with dogs, so if you have a dog rolled on your window, I love to pet them. Yes.
Advisor, like I have a sophomore and a junior, and their advisor, college guidance counselor,
Yes.
is retired. When do we get the notice of who's replacing them?
You already have. So if you look in Power School, you should see the school counselor is listed in there as well, and they should be reaching out to you as well. So, but you.
To see it though, like if you look on your back on your phone, I don't think you're able to see that.
Any other questions or concerns? Well, as always, I'm here individually, so people will come up to me individually and share those concerns with me. So at least I hope you all have a wonderful year. If there's anything you need from us throughout the year, please don't hesitate to reach out. And I hope it's really the best year ever. So thank you, guys.